Hello and hello everyone. It's good to be, alive in these days, and we thank God for every day that we gives us breath and strength. And I'm outside again, even though it's drizzling a little bit outside, but it's warm enough for me to do this outdoors. Today I want to share from Ephesians chapter 1 verse 20 to 23. And in that passage, Paul is writing to the Ephesians about the glorious purpose of God that we have come into. And I want to read from the Message. I don't usually read from the Message, but I'm going to read from the Message today, the last 3 verses. It says this: all this energy issues from Christ. God raised him from death and set him on a throne in deep heaven, in charge of running the universe, everything from galaxies to governments, no name and no power exempt from his rule. And not just for the time being, but forever. He is in charge of it all. He has the final word on everything. And it says this: at the center of all this, Christ rules the church. The church, you see, is not peripheral to the world, but the world is peripheral to the church. The church is Christ's body, in which he speaks and acts, by which he fills everything with his presence. I just want to read that little section in the middle there. It says, at the center of all this, Christ rules the church. The church, you see, is not peripheral to the world, but the world is peripheral to the church. I'm probably going to speak about this on Sunday again, but the point is this: the way the universe is organized as far as God is concerned, you've got the galaxies out there, and then you come closer, you've got the government systems and different nations. And then in the center, right in the center, is Jesus Christ, who rules the church. So that the church is not a side issue to what's going on in the world or in the galaxies and in the universe of the world, in the purposes of God. The church is not peripheral to that. The church is at the center of it. And the world is the one that's in the peripheral of what God's purposes. And so I just wanted to encourage you with this, that we as a people of God are in the center of what God intends to do. We have the purpose of God. We understand the purposes of God. God has brought us into his revelation and his understanding, and he wants us to live up to that standard. He has reorganized things in such a way that now, instead of the church being a sideline, we are the main act. When you read the book of Acts, Luke gives us a list of names there of people that came in chapter 2, of nations that came to Jerusalem when the Spirit came at Pentecost, and we'll be celebrating Pentecost pretty soon. And Luke gives a list there, and he says that there were all these people from all these nations and from Rome. Now, in the Roman world, Rome was the center of the world, the center of the universe, pretty much. But Luke reorganizes that and says everybody came to Jerusalem. So it makes Jerusalem the new center. And you know, as I do, that Jerusalem in the New Testament is re-understood, reread, transformed to mean the New Jerusalem is the church. We are the New Jerusalem. We're the Zion of God. And so now in the New Testament era, the church is not a sideline. It's in the center, right in the middle of what God is doing, right in the purpose of God, in establishing the kingdom on earth as it is in heaven. Jesus Christ ruling and the church around him. And it says he fills everything with his presence. Jesus fills everything with his presence. But you know what? It's through the church, through every born again believer, no matter what denomination they're part of, through every born again believer, Jesus fills everything with his presence. So I just need to encourage you with this. You see, you and I are right in the center of God's purpose and God's will, and we're not a peripheral act. And in all of what's going on, we stand right in the middle of God's purposes. And so, just be encouraged, and don't think that you're somehow where's God in all of this, and why am I on the sideline? You're not on the sideline. You and I are in the center of what God is doing. And what you do, what I do, is important for what happens for the world that we live in today. So continue to believe God, continue to pray, continue to read His Word, continue to pray for the healing of the nations, continue to minister the Word of God, continue to pray for the kingdom to come on earth as it is in heaven. Well, you have a good day and take care, and God bless you.